can roll. Okay, so health coach Kate, thank you for joining us. So
Thank you for having me.
I've been super excited to have you on and talk to you because I'm the admissions director for our school. And I hear from people all the time that they found us because they follow you. And they're like, oh, I saw you guys, this girl I follow on Instagram said that she went to your program and I wanted to find out more. So clearly you're out there with a lot of influence, which is awesome. But I really don't know a whole lot about you. So, and I'm sure our audience, people listening, either follow you or know that you're a fellow health coach. Maybe they don't know you're a fellow PHC. So that's what this is all about. This is Coach's Corner is all about talking to Primal Health Coach Institute graduates that are building a successful business or have a successful business. So fill us in. Do you mind giving us kind of the backstory on first of all, I would love to hear what brought you to health coaching.
Okay. So what brought me to health coaching was my own journey with health struggles, as I think is the case for a lot of people. So growing up, I was always very athletic and I thought I ate a healthy diet, what society tells you is a healthy diet, at least. And I just never felt great. I was gaining weight through high school, even though I was still playing a lot of sports. And I thought eating things like Special K cereal, like those were the healthy choices. And I couldn't really figure out what I was doing wrong. So when I was introduced to paleo, primal eating, cutting out sugar, focusing on all whole foods, that I actually started to see improvements to my health. I felt a lot better. I had more energy throughout the day. It was easier to maintain my weight and not be so focused on just what I was eating. It was a lot easier. And when that was kind of my turning point. So when that all clicked, I really wanted to help other people to make these changes, because I think a lot of people see weight loss and they see improving their health as something that has to be difficult. You have to cut out a whole bunch of foods. It has to be miserable. You're going to be hungry all the time. You have to exercise all the time. And what I realized was that it didn't have to be that way. As long as you're following certain principles, eating whole foods, doing the right types of exercise, and whatnot, that it should come easy or easier than a lot of people think. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in wanting to become a health coach. So when that happened, I didn't really know. I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know which direction to go. And if that was, just which direction to go. And I remember I listened to Chris Kresser on a podcast, and he was talking about his book, Unconventional Medicine. Have you read that one before? Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself because my family's going to be coming in from walking the dog. I've read the book. I've heard him on his podcast several times talking about it. And, Mark and Chris are buddies. So fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So that book really opened my eyes. He was talking about how our current healthcare system is focusing on treating symptoms and not the root cause, and how health coaches can be, like, we need more of them. They can be the people who are actually helping people to make these changes that will, like, they can maintain. And so when I read that book, I was like, okay, like, this is the direction I want to go. I want to become a health coach.
I love it. So taking a step back, how did you find sort of paleo primal? Did you find it on your own, or were you working with somebody that kind of pointed you in that direction?
I found it on my own. I can't remember exactly. I was listening to a lot of podcasts at the time. Like, I came across Chris, I came across Mark, a lot of other people. I can't remember exactly how I found it, but it was on my own.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I ask is because I think your story, I'm sure, resonates with a lot of people listening. And I know it resonates with me. I wandered into health coaching down the same path. Mine was really more in this effort. So I was in like a very stressful career. I worked in the finance world, surrounded by men. It was a very sort of type A, I can sleep when I'm dead kind of a career. And part of that too was image, and how you looked was a big part of that. I was in like a outside sales role. So here I was, like you, eating what I thought I was supposed to eat, right?
Yeah.
That low fat, like whole grain diet, running like an idiot. God, like I look back, I don't even like to run. Yet here I am trying to force myself to run 7 miles and convince myself I'm a runner. Totally not a runner. That's why I CrossFit now. But anyway, I just had worked myself completely into illness trying to do things the right way. And I was working with a practitioner who he didn't put me on a diet. We just eliminated a bunch of stuff. And then when I figured out what I couldn't eat, it was a paleo diet. I didn't know that's what it was until, like you, I was out researching. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
holy, and boy, was I mad, right? Like there were all these books out there that apparently were written like 10 years prior. I'm like, how did I not know this stuff? And boy, was I mad. And then I started my blog, and then it was a friend of mine who was like, you should consider health coaching. So I'm always, and I didn't even know what that was, right? And I think today that's still true. What is a health coach? People ask me that question all the time. So that's kind of my next follow-up question. So you've heard about health coaching, and I think Chris Kresser did a great job of kind of explaining what health coaching is in that book. I think you did a phenomenal job. So that's fantastic. So I imagine at some point you stumbled onto our course, enrolled here, right?
Yes.
So here's what I would love, and I've asked every guest this question. I would love to hear, in kind of your own words, how you sort of define health coaching in your terms.
Okay. I think health coaching is working with people and meeting them where they're at, and really, I guess, understanding their situation and not trying to tell people what to do, but rather helping them to make changes that are going to lead to better health, that they can maintain, that are easy. Just helping them to make the right changes and understand, I guess, a little bit better, because a lot of the times we'll read something or we'll just be told what to do, and we'll just have this idea in our head about what's healthy and what changes we need to make. But I think health coaches really help to understand why those changes are important and just how to implement them. And that can look different for everyone. So I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. And here's what I heard in that I loved: working with the client, right? Not and not telling them what to do. That's such a big one. It doesn't mean you can't share tips and advice somewhere in the content that you provide. I see that in all over your Instagram with sort of thoughts and tips and things. So that's very different. Providing ideas that get people to ask questions and seek more and do some research is different than sitting down and just telling people what to do. I also heard meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Huge. And then the other big thing I heard was helping people understand why. And, in my practice, that comes twofold. First of all, understanding why they're here. Why are you looking to make these changes? Why did you hire me? But then also understanding the why behind a different choice. So, do you mind digging a little bit sort of into your business? So you become a certified health coach. What next? What was next on your journey?
Okay. So before I even became a health coach, and I was still trying to figure out which direction to go, I thought that posting sort of healthy recipe videos, like paleo recipes, on YouTube and Instagram was something I wanted to do. So I started my YouTube channel actually before I did my health coaching certification. And that was my idea. I wasn't really going to show my face or talk to the camera or anything. I was just going to make these recipes. And so through my YouTube channel, I don't know what happened, but I decided to start posting more videos, talking to the camera and answering questions, and just providing more information about cutting out sugar. That was a big thing I was focusing on at the time. And paleo. So that kind of also transitioned into me becoming a health coach and going through the certification tied in. And then when I became certified, I started working with some clients one But I kind of realized that there were different directions you could go as a health coach. Like it didn't have to be working with clients one-on-one. You could do group coaching, or you could work with people in person. And so from there, I kind of decided I wanted.
You're coming in kind of robot-y, and I think we lost you. Are you still there, Kate?
And work with me through a Facebook group. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I mainly focus on putting out free content through social media. And then for anyone who wants a bit more accountability and a bit more support, they can join one of my programs, and that's all online.
Awesome. So you broke up for a little while there. You got kind of robot-y. I don't know if it's your connection or mine.
Oh.
But there's a lot I still kind of heard in there. I love that you started with a YouTube channel, putting together recipes, but you said you didn't want to show your face.
I know.
And now all of a sudden your face is
everywhere.
But here's why I want to pull that out a little bit. And then I want to get into some of what I thought I heard while you were breaking up there.
Mm-hmm.
But I get this a lot from folks who are just really afraid to put themselves out there. They feel relatively introverted. They don't feel comfortable promoting themselves. And so they're really just afraid to put themselves out there, including their own face, or they don't like social media. That's another big one. So can you, I guess, articulate a little bit that transition from I'm going to put these recipes out there because that's what I think people need to now I'm going to start talking. How did you gain that confidence?
Oh, so I am naturally very introverted. So the position I'm in right now, I would have never imagined it a few years back. I think I was getting a few comments on YouTube of people saying they wanted to see more of what I was doing and they wanted to see my face. I remember getting that a couple of times and I was like, okay, the worst thing that can happen is I don't like this, I delete the video. No one has to ever. It might be embarrassing if someone I know sees this, but that was kind of my train of thought. And I really think it just takes practice. Like doing it the first time is the hardest. Posting a photo of yourself, opening up, doing all that. But it gets easier and easier. And what I've found is that the internet seems like a scary place. I know I was really afraid of getting a lot of criticism and just pushback, but the vast majority of people are extremely nice. And when you start to build that community, it's just such a great feeling. And then getting the feedback from people that your videos and your posts and stuff helped them. I don't know. That's what kind of kept me going, I guess. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you know what? So here's what I love. What I heard there was, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I think imagining the worst is the worst part about it. Because I think you're right. The vast majority of people are going to try to encourage you, particularly if you have something of value to share. And I 100% agree with you. Erin Power and I talk about this all the time. Doing it the first time is always the hardest. You get better at something and you build confidence the more you do it. So the hardest time is always going to be the first one. And so Ryan's asking a question here, so I'm going to read it. What he's asking is, and then I'll get into some of my other thoughts based on what you were saying. What he's asking is, what is the quickest way you were able to grow your Facebook group or other social media tools? So you started on YouTube, which I'm sure there's still a huge channel there. But for whatever reason, I don't search for, I will search on Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever, and then a YouTube thing will pop up. I don't often go to YouTube and search, but I see you on Instagram all the time, and you have a Facebook group, which is where you're growing an audience there too. So it sounds to me like you're utilizing multiple platforms. So yeah, Ryan's asking, how did you grow it, and maybe which grew first, and what do you think allowed you to grow?
Okay. So I think it's really important to focus on what your ideal client is looking for, rather than, I think a lot of people will when they think of social media, they think about posting about their life, posting about what they're eating, what they're doing, their morning routine, this and that. And what I found was that answering people's questions through posts and figuring out what people were looking for and kind of providing that, so that filling the gap, was what helped me to grow. Specifically on YouTube, you can look up, so you can search keywords and you can see how many people are searching for those keywords and how many results there are. So if you do a little bit of keyword research, then you can figure out, okay, I'm going to make videos on topics that people are searching for, that there aren't many results. And same sort of thing on Instagram. It's a little bit harder to figure out, but yeah, so that's one way.
Yeah. So you're doing a search on YouTube or on Instagram and you're finding what people are searching for, but that you don't feel anyway that there's either enough answers or valid answers or what have you. So what she's talking about, guys, she's talking about knowing that there's a need in the marketplace and there isn't a viable solution. Okay. Mark Sisson talks about this all the time. Aaron Pyler and I talk about it all the time. The other thing Kate said, which is super important, is understanding your target client and what they want. Gosh, stop talking to other health coaches. Stop trying to impress other people in the health coaching business because they are not your clients. Right. You know, I see a lot. So you use Reels a lot in Instagram. So I would love to understand why there. I think I know, but you know, a lot of what you share, us as health coaches already know that stuff, right? So it's not as though you're out there trying to blow the socks off other health coaches. You're trying to provide your target audience with material and valuable content that you know that they can use. So speak a little bit about how you arrived, if you don't mind, at your target client. Who is that person?
Yeah, so it's, as I've grown, it's kind of broadened a little bit, but I focus a lot on insulin resistance and on blood sugar management. So people who are having issues with that or don't know that they're having that, maybe that's the root cause of all their symptoms and the reason they're having difficulty losing weight. So yeah, I guess I just mainly came to that through my just getting a lot of feedback from people that those posts were helping them. And yeah, I don't know exactly.
Okay, so walk us through a little bit. So you started on YouTube with recipes. Why did you start there? And how popular is that part of what you do still?
So I started there, I think, because that was the content I was enjoying at the time. Like I had just gone into paleo and I was trying to figure out how to make things healthier, make things with no sugar, using all whole foods, make things grain-free, that sort of thing. So that was kind of why I started there. I don't really do recipe videos anymore because I wasn't actually very good at it. Like I liked the idea of it. But then I figured out that doing videos where I was talking and answering questions and just providing knowledge that way was something that I was better at, that I enjoyed more, and that was resonating with more people.
Okay. So you've got your YouTube channel and you started with recipes and then you started doing just informational posts, videos.
Yeah.
So what came next? Did you start building your Facebook group directly from YouTube? Did you go to Instagram? Tell us a little bit about that journey, because I think some of what Ryan's actually looking for too is, you know, how were you able to grow your Facebook group, and what if any social media tools did you use? So why Instagram and why Reels? How did you transition to a Facebook group? That kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely started on YouTube, and then I did Instagram next. That was sort of the next thing that I focused on. And I guess just kind of mentioning in all my YouTube videos to follow me on Instagram. I do posts on Instagram every single day, and it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's more, it started out just being infographics, so no videos at all on Instagram. So I think that just kind of cross-referencing and just mentioning I had YouTube videos. Obviously on Instagram, I post every time I post a new video on YouTube, so, and link to it. And Facebook group, same sort of thing. I try to mention it whenever anyone says they have like a question and whatnot, or they want to talk a little bit further. I say, join my Facebook group, because it's me there. And then there's also this community as well, who's always happy to answer questions and just offer that support. Yeah, so and then I guess I transitioned into Reels when TikTok was becoming more popular in the last year or so. And I was finding that those were a way to create short videos that you could get a lot of information across really quickly and just answer questions in like a condensed format. So yeah, I've just been having some fun doing that. And
yeah, no, that makes sense. So going from more of a long form video to so here's what I love about what you're saying, and this is also something that Erin Power and talks about all the time. I talk about repurposing content, right? So if you've got a video that you're trying to drive traffic to on YouTube, you can go to Instagram and post what was likely an infographic at the time, pointing people to YouTube, and vice versa, right? And then into sort of these shorter form videos, which I just feel like our attention spans get smaller and smaller by the year. It's just ridiculous. So like we're trying to do videos, Erin and I are trying to do videos for just the public phase of Primal Health Coach Institute answering questions. It is so freaking hard to get what I want to say done in like a minute or less. Even worse, 30 seconds. I'm like, what? I can't, I'm way too verbose. I've got to get better at that, but you are excellent at it, at being able to do these reels. And then, so are you posting content on Facebook too, or is it just a private group? Or a public group?
I post on Facebook too. It's mainly just my Instagram posts. I'll just post on Facebook, post on Twitter, kind of everything. There's a few different, I think it's called like Zapier is a website where you can kind of automatically set up. So every time you post on Instagram, it automatically posts to your Facebook and posts to your Twitter. So just kind of, that just makes it a lot easier than doing it manually every time.
Absolutely. So somebody signed in as user DS. I don't know who that is. So if you want to let me know what your actual name is, that'd be awesome. But they're asking, did you learn to use these mediums on your own? Did you just get in and figure it out, or did you hire someone to teach you?
I figured it out myself. So it's just kind of been a continual learning process. I kind of mentioned earlier about just posting on social media for your ideal client and trying to answer what they were looking for. So I know on Instagram, I started out posting more about my life, I guess, and just what I was eating type thing. And then I realized when I started doing a few infographics that they were performing better. And it's just like, I guess, looking up hashtags and kind of figuring all those things out. I've kind of just learned it as I've went along. I haven't hired anybody.
Yeah. And look, you don't have to, guys. I mean, I guess if somebody feels just functionally backwards as it relates to social media, I get wanting to kind of take the shortcut and have someone teach you how to do it. But there's a lot of value in learning how to do it on your own, and kind of starting and stopping and trying something and failing and learning that lesson that way. I mean, that's how we all learned how to do anything growing up. So Coach Becker, who I was chatting with while we were waiting for you, he just said, so I just realized I've been following Kate on IG for a long time. I love her infographics and share and save them often. I just put that together. He just put together who he's been following in you. So that's hilarious.
I think another thing to consider is just what someone else is doing might not work for you. So not trying to copy someone else's strategy, because I think it's just important to try a whole bunch of different, I guess, ways of putting out content and just try a bunch of things and see sort of what sticks and what you're good at and what is resonating with people. I think that's really important at the start.
Yeah. Paying attention to what's getting engagement, right? Because there are times where I've posted something that I thought was awesome and it got like very few. First of all, I don't have a huge following. That's really not where I spend my time. But I do, interestingly, I get people that refer people to me all the time just because they see stuff on how I live my life and they know I'm a coach and what have you. Like I use the term coach in my Instagram. I'm coachlaura.fit. So people know that. So hold true to your identity and how you want to be known, I think is important. I mean, you throw that right. I'm Health Coach Kate. Right. And so people kind of know you're a coach. How often, someone was asking about the tool that you are using, Zapier.
Yeah.
But there's also Hootsuite. I don't know if that's still around. There's a couple of them, right? There's a couple of apps that you could download that will cross post. Onelia is saying she follows your YouTube channel and has for a long time. Yeah, awesome. So Kristen's asking, how do you handle mental blocks when you struggle to create content? It appears you have none based on how often you post, but I'm sure this is something you deal with like the rest of us. So tell me, how do you come up with ideas? How do you handle those mental blocks?
Well, I think one thing to consider is that you can repost your posts. Like every couple of months, I'll repost some of the infographics and whatnot. So what you create can have longer longevity, I guess, than just posting it and then not posting it ever again. Probably every couple of weeks, I'll just sit down and do like a big brainstorm and try to come up with some topics. And anytime anyone asks me to create a video on a certain topic, I'll write that down and kind of have a running list going. I think it's really important to write it down when you first think about it, because I know oftentimes I'll have an idea and I'll be like, okay, like I'll capitalize on that. I'll do something about that, and then just totally forget it. So I think just brainstorming a lot, and again, answering questions that people are asking me. And that helps kind of, yeah.
It's interesting. So I would love to hear a little bit about, prior to really gaining an audience and getting a lot of questions. I don't know about you, but when I first started, I just answered the questions I had that I found out on my own. So tell me a little bit, like for folks that are just getting started. So somebody's enrolled in the course, maybe they're not even enrolled in the course. Maybe they're just someone who's interested in health coaching and they've been invited to join this. And they're like, I don't even know where to start, right? But, put yourself, if you can, remember back in those shoes early on. And how did you know what to say? I mean, we already talked about the fear of kind of putting yourself out there. I can see recipes being a great first step. And honestly, when I started my little blog back in the day, those were by far the most popular. So I noticed that, right? So speak a little bit to that, if you don't mind, on kind of where you started in terms of content.
I guess, like you said, answering, like thinking back to what I wish I knew a few years prior, and the questions I had when I was first trying to eat healthy and improve my health. And I guess just maybe writing down a list of the first steps that you took, and kind of just thinking about all the different questions that surround those would probably be my suggestion. I would say even going through Instagram, going through YouTube, and looking at comments on other people's posts and using that as inspiration as well. Like if people are asking questions on someone else's posts, that might be a good way to figure it out.
I love that. So I don't know if it's Zara or Zara, but she says, I joined and became a primal health coach after following Kate for years. Love her and how much she has evolved. I need to work on making reels. So let's talk about that for a minute, right? Making reels, because this is something I just don't get. I don't even know how to do it. Whatever. I'm having a conversation with Coach Becker. Like, I'm 51. Maybe I just should focus on the stuff I know I'm good at, but I see it all the time. It's super cute. So how do you make a reel? How do you start?
Well, this was something I held off on for a long time. Like I saw TikTok was more popular, and I was kind of like, oh, like I can't add another social media platform. Like I already post so much on Instagram. I post on YouTube. Like there's no way I can make more videos. Right. But then I started seeing the popularity of it, and Instagram as well. They're really pushing reels. They're showing up on everyone's homepages now. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give this a shot. And it kind of comes back to just starting and practice. Like you just need to do it and get the first couple out of the way, and you're only going to get better at it. So I've actually I create all of my reels on TikTok, and then I repost them on Instagram. I think it's a little bit easier the way you edit on TikTok is a little bit easier. I've found, and that's how I do it. It's a bit hard to get your head around at the start, but again, just practice and you get used to it, and just
Okay,
gets
so that's
easier.
another example of how you can. So you are on TikTok now,
Yeah.
but it's easier because you can just repost the same thing on Instagram. So it's like a twofer. I think she's frozen again. So what I love about what she's saying here is being able to
You just broke
utilize.
up a little bit.
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit. So what I love about saying, I don't really have the bandwidth to bring on another social media platform. I think a lot of people feel that way. As a matter of fact, Terry is saying, do you have to use social media for your practice? I'm not a Luddite, but close is what she's saying. So, but so you started with this, like, God, I don't want to add yet another, social media platform.
Sorry, you're just cutting out.
You know what? I'm going to I wonder if I turn off my video, if that matters. Hold on a minute. Can you hear me any better? I don't think so. Okay.
Sorry, my Zoom totally crashed.
Oh, there you go. Well, you're okay. So
Yeah.
you're back now. So I can't tell if
Yes.
it might have been you on your end then. Okay. So, so anyway, we'll edit that part out if we need to. But so you were saying, gosh, I don't want to add another social media platform, but you actually found by recording on TikTok, editing on TikTok, it allows you to actually, are you posting on TikTok now? And it's easy because it just allows you to do both. Okay. So that's a good little tip. We interviewed someone on our podcast, Danielle Maitive, who's also a graduate of this course, and she's built her entire business on TikTok.
Yeah.
Randomly, like the entire thing. So that's another nice little tip there, that you may find some tools on some social media platforms are actually easier to use, and then you can turn around and cross post.
The other thing I'll just mention is, in terms of coming up with ideas, what I realized was I have a whole bunch of infographics, obviously, on Instagram, and I could turn those into TikToks and Reels. So it's kind of just the same information, but presenting it in a different way. And that's just a way to get sort of two pieces of content out of, I guess, one idea, which is something I've done. Yeah.
And Erin, when we had our last masterclass in Austin, she did a whole deal around content marketing. And she was talking about having one idea, one topic, and being able to use it like 4 ways. In terms of writing a blog post and then taking that blog post and breaking it up into other social media posts, doing a little video about it. And then also consider for folks that want to get into podcasting, taking that topic and moving into that, or start with more of like a podcast venue that you can then turn around and have the actual audio transcribed. And now it's a blog post. And now you've got some topics you can pull out of that and turn around and post on social media. So the idea of repurposing this stuff and making it look unique, but also it provides a cohesive message that, right, people are kind of hearing the same thing from you time and time again. So hold on. There was another question in here. Okay, so this is where when you were broken up. So Terry's asking, do you think you have to use social media for your practice? She says, I'm not a Luddite, but I'm close. So you chose to build your business on social media. So there's that. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's something you have to do? Or if you had to do it over and it wasn't an option, what options would you choose?
I don't think you have to, but I think social media is what a lot of people are using to find information nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think that it is pretty important. You don't have to, but I do think it is very beneficial to at least have some sort of presence and just kind of just be out there for people to find you that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Terry, just kind of thinking through this point, look, some people just don't like it, that they actually get like anxiety from it. I get that. And when I first started, the only thing on social media was pictures of my kids and like pictures of the food I was eating. I grew my business another way. So you don't have to, but I 100% agree with you, Kate. You get farther reach. You're able to reach more of your target audience. But here's one thing I would say, and I'd love your opinion. is you don't have to have 5 different platforms. Understand your target audience, understand who your niche is and where are they? If they're going to be on social media, where's it going to be? My kids think all the old people are on Facebook. So if you have an older, that's my dad. My dad's on Facebook. He's really not on like Instagram, you know? But if you're out seeking to work with professionals, higher level professional women or men or what have you, you know what, LinkedIn might be really a better platform for you. If you're not sure and perhaps you don't like to write, and you don't want to be writing out captions and all this other stuff, just do a video, post it up to YouTube or stick with one platform where video kind of resonates really well. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's IG, but pick one. You don't have to have a million of them and just try it. And there are people that do not use social media personally, right? In terms of their personal life, they don't like it, but they just view it as a business tool. So for folks like Terry, do you have a recommendation on which social media platforms are maybe the most versatile, the easiest to figure out and learn? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, probably Instagram would be the easiest to learn. Yeah, probably Instagram would be the one if you had to choose any that I would recommend.
Yeah. Okay. And, look, I mean, my typical client is like, God, women who have dieted for life and they want to stop dieting. Right. That's really there are so many times I've tried to like reframe who I work with. And if I had to put it in one sentence, that's it. Women who want to stop dieting and just learn how to effortlessly maintain a healthy weight are really my clients. So wherever those people are, Instagram probably, honestly, right? So Sarah's been piping in here. She was on the last. She's talking about how repurposing content is great. She's been able to turn all of her topics into professional speaking list. 40 different options that she can use, ready to go. So someone was asking here. So Kristen's asking, where do you create your infographics, like your omega-3s versus omega-4 post on IG?
Yeah.
You mean omega-6?
I do everything on Canva. Yeah, on canva.com. So it's free. And then there's a paid one that gives you a few more features and whatnot, but it's really easy to use. You can just move all the text around, add images, add whatnot, and then just download it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Canva has some really great tutorials. So if there's something you don't know how to do, chances are there's a tutorial in there that'll teach you how to do it. And the cool part about Canva is if you're using IG, they've got everything the right size for an IG post. If you're looking for a Facebook, they've got everything that's kind of the right size. If you want to do a flyer, so business cards, the whole 9 yards. So
and the templates as well. There are so many templates and you can customize them. So you can put in all your own information and it already looks nice, and then just change the fonts and whatnot. Yeah. So highly recommend.
I just love that. So that's awesome. Patty's saying, I thought of having to use social media as preventing me from doing any of this seriously. I know it's pretty much required in this day and age, but I just hate it so much. Okay. So Patty, look, girl, you don't have to. Okay. You don't. I've built my business without it, but you will build it faster on social media. Or you need to build a local relationship that's going to allow you to grow faster. That's another way around that. And so Patty, you and I can have a little chat, or maybe we can do it as a webinar on ways to build your business outside of social media. But Kate, I mean, how long have you been a health coach?
I think I finished the certification in 2018.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been 4 years. 4 years. And this is where you are. She's been able to build a full-time career in this space. And I'm sure through multiple avenues of revenue, maybe that's something I would love to talk about, because Erin and I talk about how our total income comes from multiple places. Because we've managed to stumble into doing all these things that we love, probably too much. Like, honestly, I have one free night a week. And guess what night that is? This night. So my one free night a week I'm spending with you lovely people. But that's because I love it, because I coach CrossFit, because I love my work with Primal. I have my own clients. So, at the end of the day, you are able to build a great business that's been able to support you in 4 years or less. It took me 5, but it took me 5 to go full time. You've been doing this. if you were to kind of equate how long it took you to go from 0 to, hey, this is my career, how long would you say that was?
Yeah, so I was working a part-time job until the start of 2020. So I think it took a bit over 2 years to get to a point where I was like, okay, I can actually put all my time into this and do it full time.
Yeah, awesome. So that just gives you a prime example. It's going to speed things up. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. Again, for me, it took me more like 5 years, but I was in a position really from when I got serious, 3 years. The first two, I was kind of messing around, to be completely honest. There were a lot of things I didn't want to do that I knew I had to do, and I dragged my feet, and I finally got my act together. But I was also in a position where, look, I was the sole income earner for a family of 6. Couldn't just jump ship. Anyway, that's a story for a whole other day. So Zara's asking, when you set up a Facebook page, you can sync it with Instagram and it will automatically post to both, including stories. Absolutely. Okay. So Ryan is saying, I'm totally new to social media. I needed Coach Becker to help me get into it, and it really helped me have a chance to make this work as a career. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ryan, and Coach Becker, for all the hard work you do. So look, from moving I would love for you to speak to a little bit about how your business actually functions now. So you were breaking up a little there when you were talking about how people actually work with you. So do you mind fleshing that out a little bit? Give us a little more detail there.
Yeah. So the main focus of my business now is social media. So putting out YouTube videos, putting out Instagram posts. And then I have a few coaching programs that people can join if they want to work with me a bit closer to get some more accountability and support. And that I all do online through my Facebook groups. Yeah, so I think I'm a bit of a weird situation because my YouTube channel has grown to what it is. I make money through the ads that play before YouTube videos.
Oh, nice.
Which is like a decent chunk of money. So that's one platform or one revenue stream. And then I have my coaching programs. And another thing I've found to be really good to incorporate is affiliate marketing. So I'll have a lot of people ask me what collagen powder I recommend, or a mayo that doesn't have vegetable oil in it. So joining an affiliate program like Primal Kitchen has one. So when people are asking for recommendations for mayonnaise that doesn't have vegetable oil in it, I can refer it to them and you get a commission from that as well. So yeah.
There's a lot of people that do it like that. And by the way, Primal Health Coach Institute has an affiliate program.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And when you refer people to this program, you'll get a commission on that. And our absolute best referral source, our absolute best marketing source is our own students and graduates that refer friends or people here. So pay attention here, guys, because this is a question that I get as admissions director is how am I going to produce the income I think I need? Because you're right, trying to build a full-time, for many people, 6-figure or multiple 6-figure income, seeing one-on-one clients, you got to charge a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to charge a lot of money, you better hope you have a lot to offer. And I don't mean that in terms of, I don't want anyone feeling imposter syndrome, but that, typically speaking, if you're going to command $5,000 to $10,000 for a one-on-one coaching program, that's a very high touch program that you need to be ready to dive into. Right. So you can also do groups. I heard you mention that you can charge people less money per person, but make more money for the same unit of time when you've got multiple people kind of sharing that unit of time. Tell us a little bit about, so you've got your YouTube channel. I want to hear about that, about how you actually get advertisers on there or if they actually court you, but that's a different question. But you've got that income stream for advertisers. By the way, I don't know how many people have those, people that look up recipes online and there's 85 freaking ads that pop up before you actually get to the recipe. Those people are getting paid for those ads, right? So if you've got great content, whether it's recipes, whether it's a newsletter, videos that you're doing, that is an absolute viable way to supplement your actual coaching income. But then you've got one-on-one coaching model that really, you guys, you have to charge enough. Okay. I know, Sarah. Oh, I hate those pop-ups. I know, but look, it's what pays the bills for people. And if I get a free recipe and I didn't have to go pay for the cookbook, I'm happy to deal with it. So that's one way. Then you've got your coaching income, and however you choose to slice and dice that. But I just want to drive home, guys, when you're seeing clients one-on-one, please charge your worth. Make sure that's your high ticket offer. Then you've got group programs. I don't know about you, but I've done sort of semi-private groups where I'll allow friends actually get together with a smaller group, 5 or 6 people,
Okay.
4 people, what have you. And then I kind of, I charge more than I would for an individual program, but it's less to them. And then you've got the larger groups. Do you do any kind of sort of membership group rather than running? So tell us how you might be running your groups in Facebook.
Yeah. So my coaching programs I do through Thinkific. Which is, they're kind of set up like online courses. Like I have a 7-day keto start, which is like a crash course. And yeah, that 7 days kind of gives you everything you need to get started. And when you join that, you get access to a private Facebook group that's just for my keto start members. And then, yeah, I do answer questions and help people out in the group and post recipes and do live streams every now and then in those groups. So that's kind of, yeah, how I do that.
Awesome. Okay. So you've got essentially e-courses where you're delivering educational material and then providing support through the Facebook group. Super easy.
Yes.
Do you mind if I ask how much you charge for those kind of groups?
That one is only $30 because I want it to be accessible to a lot of people. Yeah.
You want it to be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So you run your group. So tell us a little bit. So you've got your group coaching income that's coming in. You've got your advertising, and then you've got your affiliate links. So tell us a little more about sort of how you got there. Were you seeking advertisers at some point? Did they start to seek you out once you built an audience? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yep. So on YouTube, you don't have to actually seek anyone out. What I'm talking about is like the advertisements that'll just play before the videos. And you have to, I think, you need to reach a certain threshold of followers and watch time hours before you can apply for the program. And then pretty much the ads will just play before your videos and you get a small percentage of that every time. So like the more views you get, it's just more revenue. I do also work with some companies who will like sponsor a YouTube video. So they'll pay me a fee and I'll mention their products in the video. But I'm very selective about which companies I work with for that, because I don't want to be recommending anything that people don't need and that isn't going to benefit them. And that's just not good for anyone. So I do get a lot of companies reach out to me and want to work with me in that way, but I filter through a lot of them and turn down a lot. Yeah.
I'll bet. So, and look, and I don't want anybody concerned about feeling so you have to, those are products that typically people are asking you for anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yes.
I get it all the time about, what's recommendation on a fish oil supplement or recommendation on a vitamin D, or the one I get all the time because I'm such a gym rat is protein powders.
Yeah.
What protein powders do you recommend? Things of that nature. So if these are things you would use yourself or things that you're commonly recommending, if they have an affiliate link, use it. Just disclose it to your clients. By the way, I'm an affiliate for this person that I recommend it this much, and so, I'll earn a small commission when you use that. Most people don't care.
Yeah. And usually the company will give you a discount code as well that you can give to the person. So yeah, but 100%. If you're going to be recommending the products anyways, like you said, like fish oil, things like that, I get asked about all the time as well. You might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You might as well. And because look, at this day and age, starting any business from the ground up is no easy proposition. It's not. And most business owners I know earn revenue multiple ways. They might have multiple products or services that they offer. They like just the girl who does my hair, she gets paid to cut it. She gets paid to color it. Actually, I take that back. My husband colors my hair. Isn't that awesome? I know. He colors my hair. Anyway, but she cuts my hair, but I also buy all my products from her and so on, So I don't know, I guess it's kind of a no-brainer as ways to, here's your core offering. right? Here's kind of your ultimate goal. Who is your target audience? What problem are you solving for people? And how do you help them solve it? It sounds to me, in terms of what you're doing, is you're focusing predominantly on sort of blood sugar regulation, insulin resistance, and you're leading with a lot of education, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Tips, education, and resources, which, by the way, always in the wheelhouse of a health coach. Here's a question that comes up, and I'd like your take on it is, what do I do if I live in an area where I'm not allowed to give nutrition advice?
Mm.
I don't know, what are the laws like in Australia?
They're pretty similar to the States. Yeah. So everything I put out is educational content. That's
How you get around it, right? Yeah. So look, guys, you going on social media and talking about food or talking about the benefits of reducing carbohydrates, in particular processed carbohydrates, or using Coach Becker's shtick. He just says, my favorite protein powder is steak, whatever. Maybe talking about the benefits of whole food protein instead of protein, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
None of that is nutrition advice. None of that is nutrition advice. So if you are concerned about a scope of practice issue, getting out there and providing educational content through social media, through e-courses, if you're delivering your material through an e-course or a group, no one could ever accuse you of giving individualized nutrition advice. You can't. Okay. That all of that is super safe. I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that, or if you kind of tailored the way you spoke about anything, kind of knowing that stuff. So Kristen is asking, how do you handle friends or acquaintances wanting to quote unquote pick your brain while also not giving too much and turning it into an unpaid coaching situation? Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't have this situation too much, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you're fortunate
really
in kind of
know.
how you run your business, that it probably doesn't come up for you very often. So look, guys, first and foremost, don't turn it into a coaching session. Don't. Okay. I don't, this comes up for me sometimes in that, if somebody wants me to actually sit down and work with them to design a nutritional protocol together for them, I don't do that with friends and family. Anytime someone asks me really detailed questions about their specific situation, my answer is often, you know what? I don't feel comfortable giving that kind of advice without knowing much more. I need to know a lot more about you, and more than likely, my recommendation and thoughts might change as I get to know you better. And so we really need to engage in an actual coaching relationship, but I never charge people, and you don't either. I never charge people for information. Ever. Right? If someone has a couple of questions, or it's just a piece of information, I am more than happy to answer it. But I don't know about you and how you address this, but a lot of times people will ask me questions, and the first question I ask is, well, why do you ask? Right?
Yeah.
Right. Why is that important to you? So this is an interesting kind of sidebar in terms of people are asking you questions. And so you're thinking, well, that would be an interesting topic. Are you kind of thinking through how to sort of answer that topic, and how to create context for this kind of stuff? So for example, here's one thing that comes up just kind of relative to sort of a lower carb diet, is how much protein people should be eating. I don't know if that comes up for you, but maybe you can share some examples of kind of how you share content when, context is everything.
Yeah. So it's difficult because there's going to be nuance to everything. There's always exceptions to the rule. Like, I'll do a post and someone will be like, oh, what about this very specific niche group of people who can't eat this food? And I'm like, well, yeah, like it gets a bit tricky then. So I try to the best of my ability, consider all the different angles and who this is going to apply to, and try to make things as general as possible and as applicable to as many people as possible. That's kind of my approach.
Absolutely. And your audience, sort of your niche is relatively broad, right? Folks with insulin resistance, folks with like blood sugar dysregulation. One thing that will sort of make that easier too is as people niche down and niche down and niche down and get more and more specific. Because I did hear you say early on, your niche actually grew a little bit over time. And so it's interesting when I hear people's stories where they start real specific and they became very popular within that group. And then all of a sudden, other people that don't fit that demographic but have the same problem begin to come in, right? So your niche actually grows, but you are solving the same problem. And in your situation, insulin resistance, blood sugar dysregulation. But I've also seen it the other way around where people start out broader and then find they're just too busy trying to, and so they end up getting, so everyone's going to have kind of their own path and sort of how that goes. But thanks for sharing that because context is everything. So it's Kirsten. Sorry, I'm calling you Kristen, dear. I apologize. Again, any knowledge that has entered my brain is not something I learned it from someone else. Right. So I'm more than happy to just share information or answer a question. But if somebody really wants to get knee deep in the weeds about their unique situation, look, this is a coaching relationship and it's really not professional of me to try to dive into answering questions until I know a whole lot more about you. This is why I coach. And that you would recommend maybe having a quick discovery call because like there's a difference between giving somebody information and then showing somebody, teaching somebody and coaching somebody into using that information. Right. That's a totally different story. Coach Becker is saying his favorite, and this is one of yours too. My favorite affiliate program is LMNT. They don't pay me, but when people use my link, I get free product. There you go. I got through 3 to 4 packets. Wow. He goes through 3 or 4 packets a day. That's a lot. You're mostly carnivore though, I think, Coach Becker. So I share that link often. Watermelon is my favorite. Me too. I don't know if you have a favorite, but
the orange one's really good too.
Also good. Sometimes I'll use the chocolate sea salt in my coffee. That's pretty yummy. I know. Patricia is probably answering Kirsten's question, offer a coaching program. And then Kirsten saying, so helpful. Thank you. Just graduated and I'm running into this situation with friends and acquaintances. Thanks. Yeah. So look, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I don't know how you feel about this because this really isn't a situation for you, but I did hear you say people will ask you more detailed questions or more personal questions on Instagram in a DM. And what do? You refer them to your Facebook group. Right? Jump in there. I'm in there more. If they need more information, it's, hey, join my 7-day reset or whatever. And if they need more, you can kind of then shovel them maybe into, a more higher level program. But that is a great way, actually. Now, thinking about it in terms of how you handle that, Kirsten, is stair stepping people into a more expensive, if you're concerned of going from an acquaintance or a friend where it just feels weird to say, here's my coaching program and it costs $1,500. And they went, what? It's, well, hey, I have this free Facebook group. Why don't you jump in there? I answer questions there all the time and people crowdsourcing can share information there. And then if they start asking much more personal questions, then you can put them into, hey, I have this great e-course and you can move them in that direction. And then once they get through that e-course, if they're still asking more questions than they've actually paid for and they need more help. So you can handle that relationship sort of as it comes. Coach Becker.
And I also think that, providing free information to people, answering their questions helps to build some credibility and show people that you know what you're talking about. And that will make them more likely to enroll in your coaching programs, hopefully. Mm-hmm.
I think you're absolutely right. I do free talks all the time where I'm talking for like an hour on some pretty detailed topics. But what's interesting with that, and I think this holds true with YouTube, when you're an IG influencer as well, and you've shared a lot of high quality content and that's what you're known for, it immediately puts you in, it creates this sense of content matter expert. Immediately. If you are a guest speaker, you have a YouTube video. Look, and you're posting a lot. That's the other, I think, secret to your success. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is kind of what I want to go out with is if people are going to use social media, what do they need to be doing? You need to do something. Okay. So what do they need to be doing to find success in their business on social media? I kind of gave away what I think the answer is on there, but I'd love for you to share, I don't know, your number one takeaway or 2 to 3 things people should be doing to be able to build that following in a year or a couple of years.
Yeah, so I think I've kind of mentioned this a few times, but just focusing on creating posts and creating content that is what your ideal client is looking for. And I think that's really just the most important thing. Also, just being consistent. It doesn't have to be every day, but just having consistency is really important, and posting on your Instagram stories as much as you can. Again, doesn't have to be every day, but just even if you just have a thought, popping on there and just like answering something really quickly is just a good way to do that. Other than that, yeah, that's probably
those are the two or three biggest ones, right? Know what your audience wants to know, what they need to hear, right? What do they need from you? That's how you know what to post. But then I heard you say the magic word, which was consistency. So just commit to something. So to your point, it doesn't have to be every day, but can it be 3 days a week? Can it be 1 day a week to get started? You know, where you're really doing something more than just posting a picture of your dog, you know? And I don't know. I mean, I would mess around with, do you have some thoughts on when, because most of what I see from you is a video. I don't see a ton of just infographics anymore, but there are some. I see a lot of video. Do you find videos are more engaging?
I think Instagram is really pushing them now.
Yes.
So I think photos are kind of getting suppressed. So yeah, that's why I'm posting more, and clearly they're showing up more for you as well, which kind of annoying, but I guess you just have to figure it out. On the note of consistency though, I will mention there's a website called later.com and it's a scheduling tool for social media. So I have it set up. So I have all my Instagram posts that I've posted on there. You can save the caption and then you kind of schedule them. Nice. They will either post automatically or you'll get a notification on your phone the time you scheduled it, and then you can just manually put it up. But that's just a good way to prepare a bunch of content, have it ready to go, and just know that you can stay consistent without having to worry about it every single day.
No, I love that. So just LATER, later?
Yep.
Is it an app or is it for desktop?
There's an app and it's desktop as well.
Yeah, later.com. I love that. So sorry, like I've got 1 or 2 more questions, but okay, let me get to okay. Virginia has got a question. Kate, how do you approach what you share in your group versus what you post openly or publicly on socials?
So yeah, mainly in my main Facebook group. So I have a main Facebook group that anyone can join. There, I'm mainly just answering questions. That's pretty much what's going on in there. Lots of people are asking questions. I'm just answering them, and everything else I post on social media for the public.
Publicly. Great. Okay. So you're sharing content, topics, ideas, content, and it's in that if people have questions, it's, hey, if you want me to answer questions, you got to go to the Facebook group. I think that makes a ton of sense. Then there was, so this is the last thing. So in terms of content, this is what sparked it was later.com. Do you have a scheduled day that you try to just sit down and try to be creative? Or are you just like, hey, I've got some inspiration, I'm going to go ahead and write it up now and then schedule it in later? So do you have, I don't know, everybody works differently, but I have a hard time when I'm just not feeling it to try to force myself to sit down and write something. So your thoughts?
Probably once every 2 weeks, I try to sit down and really schedule everything, plan everything for Instagram. And some days it's not the day I planned it. Some days I'll just have a lot of ideas and I'm like, okay, I should just do this today. Yeah.
So I've seen you do these videos. So do you just go and kind of record a bunch of different videos, and then from there is when you're figuring out where the little words are going to pop up and what music you're going to have in the background or what kind of background might be behind you in the video? Because I've seen all sorts of different structures to those videos.
Yeah. So I'll for TikToks and Reels, I'll plan a bunch of videos and I'll film a whole bunch, and then I'll go in later and edit them and kind of schedule them to be posted.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's hard because Sometimes I'll sit down and I'll write out a plan, how I'm going to structure the videos, but then other times I'll just sit down and talk and kind of clip it up and add some text on the screen.
Love it. Awesome. Okay, so this is great. So this is an example. You're a prime. So we've done 3 of these coaches corners so far, and you've all 3 been completely different from each other. You all have totally different businesses. You all have totally different backgrounds. You live in completely different areas, totally different target market. Yet you're all 3 running very successful businesses, doing things your way. So I want to thank you for being just really honest and open and sharing some tips with everybody about how social media can literally just pay you on social media, right? Through advertisements, affiliate links, and oh, by the way, I get to coach, but you don't have to go through the stress of necessarily finding a bunch of clients. But like, it's from folks listening on here, it's finding what sounds authentic to you and picking up pieces from what Kate was talking about that you're like, that I can do. That resonates with me. I'm going to give that a try. And then just see where this takes you. So look, I know that anyone interested in kind of learning more and following you, if they're not already, where should they go? YouTube, but where should they?
YouTube, Instagram. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. It's just Health Coach Kate.
Just Health Coach Kate across the board. Right?
Yes.
Fantastic. So, and look, anybody listening here who has ideas on, because we would love to have you on the podcast, actually, our podcast as well, which is sort of a greater audience. But any other questions that we might be able to pick Coach Kate's brain on later for the podcast, but look for her there. I do know that there were some people here that are followers of yours that have not enrolled in our program. So if you have an interest in enrolling at Primal Health Coach Institute, that's me. You just want to book some time in my calendar. So if you go to primalhealthcoach.com, there's a big red button that says book a call. So just book a call and we can talk about it. Kate can tell you all about it. So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go before any more questions come in, but this has been fantastic and I appreciate you being generous with your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, and absolutely love the Primal Health Coach program. Like, it was exactly what I needed at the time. And yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. Right place, right time, right program. I love it. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kate. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.